In this documentary, I am going to talk about the life of Olaudah Equiano and his life story. How he first started off as a normal African, how he was captured and sent to America on a slave ship with appalling conditions, how he was sold to a British sailor, how he was bought by a merchant and then brought back his freedom, and how he had a major contribution to the abolishment of slavery and the slave trade. Olaudah Equiano was born in Eska, Benin Empire, which is now known as Nigeria, in 1745. When he was 11, Equiano was kidnapped, and after 6 months of his captivity, he was brought to the slave ship on the coast of Barbados. Olaudah Equiano later recalled in his autobiography the interesting narrative of the life of Olaudah Equiano, or Gustavus Vassa, the African, written by himself. After 2 weeks in the West Indies, Equiano was sent to the English colony of Virginia. In 1754, he was purchased by Captain Henry Pastell, a British naval officer. He served on British ships for 7 years. A fellow sailor taught him to read and understand mathematics. Equiano was freed by Pastell after the 7 Years' War and re-slaved in London, 1762, to the West Indies. He was sold to Robert King, a Quaker merchant from Philadelphia, based in Montserrat, in the Caribbean islands. Robert King traded in the Caribbean. While he was in Montserrat, he witnessed the worst tortures imaginable being inflicted on his fellow slaves. This experience gave him a desperate need to achieve his freedom, as he recalled in his diary. He was in a fortunate position that he could make use of his own job to his own advantage. After 3 years, he saved up £40 and brought back his own freedom in 1766. When he joined Society for the Abolition of the Slave Trade, Equiano worked with Granville Sharp and Thomas Clarkson and others. He wrote a book known as The Interesting Narrative of the Life of Olaudah Equiano, or Gustavus Vassa, the African, written by himself. He gave a copy of this book to the king, but it did not change anything. He went on trying to sell his book throughout England, and eventually it became a bestseller. The book was published in Germany in 1790, Holland in 1791, and also in the same year. He also spent over 8 months in Ireland. He made several speeches on the evils of slavery when he was there, and he sold over 1,900 copies of his book. He then travelled throughout Britain with copies of his book, and thousands upon thousands attended his readings. Equiano died on the 31st of March, 1797. The location of his death is unknown.